This Weather Guard Truck Race DFS and Underdog Picks edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Kutt. Kutt is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's U.S.-based and available in 40 states. Head to Kutt.com and use promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play their fantasy pick'em for a chance to win 100x in NBA, NHL, college basketball, NASCAR, and more. Sign up today using promo code RACESGPN to get a 100% deposit match. We're also brought to you by Champs. Run your own March Madness pool and enter Champs' free bracket contest for a chance to win $1,000. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/champs to enter today. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off of your first month and start making smarter bets today.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you asked me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
I know what you're thinking. 2 truck episodes in a row. Rod, Cody, what's going on? Well, we do have 2 truck episodes in a row. It is the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. We told you we would be back with a Trucks DFS episode and Underdog. We don't normally get to do these because obviously with all 3 series in session, we space it out between the 3. But today, we get to give you a bonus episode of Truck DFS. So this will be fun to dig into. Our first time doing it, I think, Cody, right, as a show?
Yeah, first time with it, getting its own stage for the fantasy portion of things. Look, if we could do, a show for everything we want to talk about, there'd be a lot of shows and we just never leave the air. So neither of our wives would like that. The bosses might not like it. You might not have enough time for it. So, but yeah, it's great. Obviously, no Xfinity Series race this week, which sucks. But it does open up that extra show. Sometimes in the past we kind of separated the DFS and the Underdog, but we figured why not? We've got Truck Series running. We get a lot of people interested in playing Truck Series DFS. There's some Truck Series fantasy leagues out there. Underdog obviously has Truck Series picks as well. So give it its own platform, its own day this week, and could be a trend that we kind of keep up on throughout the season. When one or the other is not racing, we'll have weeks where it's just Xfinity and no trucks, and we can do the same with Xfinity. So, yeah, I think it's good to give these lower series their I always seem to be more successful in DFS in trucks and Xfinity. I'm going to be completely – it's a lot like my betting, Rod. Maybe the Cup Series just isn't for us. I don't know what the deal is. But,
we'll completely abandon the Cup Series and just go straight on.
We'll stop talking about the Cup Series. We'll just talk about the no, just kidding. We're not going to do that. But – no, these series are a lot of fun to play DFS in, and and get in on the underdog picks. And yeah, it's a great time. So I think it's awesome to have a standalone for it this week, and whenever we're able to do it.
Well, and honestly, listen, as we dive into these lower series, the more people that jump into the pool, the bigger the prize pools, the bigger the contest, the more that DraftKings and Underdog want to offer these types of lines, because the more action they get, obviously, the better it is for them. And honestly, it just works for everybody. And to be fair, this is something that's always been fun to do. It's just for what, obviously with time constraints, we can't necessarily do it. But listen, if you guys like this enough, right? I mean, there's a case to be made that we can continue to start bringing these episodes out, even if we have to make them, 20 minutes long and just give you the picks and whatever, or we turn them into YouTube shorts, or I don't know. There, if there's a path to it, if you guys want it, obviously we're here for you. I'm here for you. Cody's here for you, and we'd love to continue to give you the content that you want. So if this is something you want later on down the road, we'll look into bringing it to you. So John Little talking about it's Bristol Trucks, baby. It is in the chat. Walter saying, what's up, guys? You guys always do a great job with every show. Bosses should be happy. Yeah. Well, listen, I don't do it for them. I do it for you guys.
But they are happy, so that's always a good thing too.
luckily it all works out. And if they weren't happy, then I'd probably be singing a different story. But yeah, my allegiance is to you and to Cody. And if they're happy with it, then all the better. But yeah, we're going to be excited to break down trucks. We talked about them last night. So if you want a little more detail on some of these guys that we're not talking about today, go back in the truck betting episode. And if you're strictly a DFS player and this is your first time maybe listening to an episode of ours because the truck DFS kind of steered you toward it, we always encourage you to go back and listen to the betting episode, because not only are you getting our opinions here, but we dig deep into other drivers over there, which you could potentially use for your DFS lineup. Because as we've said before, DFS, betting, underdog, it all sort of ties in to each other, as in the stats are the same. It's just a matter of how you interpret it and interpretate it. It's been a long week, Cody. To what you need it for. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly. That's great points. I got nothing else really to add, because it does. I mean, they really do go hand in hand. When you're thinking of someone you can bet on, you can also think of a way to play them in fantasy. It's not always an exact correlation. Someone like a Stuart Friesen, yeah, maybe we want to bet on him top 5 like we talked about yesterday. Do we trust him enough yet to play him in DFS? Probably not quite as much, right? So there is some separation in that, and you have to weed through that. But a lot of times, a lot of things go hand in hand. Where we talked about some guys yesterday, we're going to talk about again today. And if we talked about him yesterday, then I think that can happen again.
Indeed. Nick Fortune talking about good evening, gentlemen. Hope to win some money this weekend. We're right. Everybody on the Jack Wood train. I'm telling you right now, this is
I don't think I would actually, if you want to take me up on Kutt there, Nick, I will put as much money as you want on the fact that Jack Wood will not have a top 5 this weekend, because he's not in the race. So
those Kutt bets are rolling in through too. We'll talk about it here in a second, but
yes.
that's a lot of good to see. All right. Well then, Cody, I feel like we should just take a break quickly and then come back, and we'll start setting up these DFS lineups for everybody, because I'm ready to get into it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. But first, let me tell you about our merch madness we got going on. The big thing, the big games, the big dance are happening right now. But we've got 15% off of everything in our merch store if you use the promo code MADNESS for our merch madness. It's not a contest, because you all win. All you got to do is just buy some of your favorite merchandise. You want a hoodie, a Racing Gambling Podcast hoodie? It's there for you. You want a Racing Gambling Podcast coffee mug? It's there for you. Look, it's a big mug too. I'm telling you right now, drinking out of that mug, you're going to get enough coffee for at least a couple hours, depending on how much you drink coffee, but definitely a good buy. So make sure you get into that merch store right now and get something that you like. Get 15% off of that using our merch madness code MADNESS. You will not regret it. We're brought to you by Kutt. Kutt is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's U.S.-based and available in 40 states. Like we talked about, there are Kutt bets out there. Cody continues to add them. I'm behind the 8 ball. I'm sorry, guys. Like I said, it's been a long week. I'll add some up in the next couple of days, and you guys can take me up on some of those as well. Definitely love to get that going. You guys have been in there, man. You guys have already been taking it, and I love it. So go in there and get it. What's peer-to-peer social betting? Well, it's a better way to bet. You can bet directly against your friends, us, or other users on sports, politics, pop culture, any other verifiable outcome event. In fact, we saw one that was a great idea as far as when they're going to up the horsepower. We're going to set some lines as far as when the horsepower is going to get increased. That'll be fun to take it up on a Kutt bet. Plus, Kutt offers the lowest VIG and has fully customizable odds, which means you create your own bets. You think you're a bookmaker? You think you can do better than the books? Prove it. Head over to Kutt. Kutt handles the payment side of things. So let's face it, you don't got to chase me down for money anymore. Social features include group chats, betting leaderboards, head-to-head history, user profiles, fan groups, and so much more, including rewards. Get cash back every single time you make a bet against your friends or other users. Again, like I said, get down on those bets, man. Cody's got some good ones up there. Download Kutt today in the App Store or over at Kutt.com. That's Kutt. And use promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. We're about to give you some of our favorite underdog fantasy plays for the truck race. Cannot wait to get down on them. All you got to do is pick better or worse than the projected finishing positions of these drivers. Stack them all up. Watch the multiplier raise. And if you find some chilies and some other sports that you like, you can win up to 100x by picking higher than or lower than the projected stats for that player. Oh, so much fun. And right now, if you use that promo code RACE SGPN when you sign up, you're going to get a 100% deposit match up to $100. You don't even got to go up to 100. Anything you go up to 100, you're going to get matched. Don't miss out on that opportunity. Have some fun with it. Get down on the truck race. We're going to give you some of our favorite plays, like we said, coming up. So make sure you do it. Sign up today with promo code RACE SGPN. Get your first deposit doubled up to $100, as well as an instant pick'em special. Visit underdogfantasy.com or find them in the App Store. And don't forget to register with our promo code RACE SGPN to get your first deposit doubled up to $100, as well as that instant pick'em special. Must be 18 or older and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org. All right, Cody, it is, like we said, it is Bristol. It is the truck race at Bristol. Not a very long one. We talked about it in the betting episode. 150 laps, only 79 miles in this race. 150 laps around this 0.5333333 mile track. So lap leaders, kind of important, but I think you can get away with it if one person doesn't jump out and win a ton of laps. But for DFS purposes, you're going to want the people that are going to be up front. You're going to want the people that you think can move through the field if they get caught back there. So that's what you're looking at this week. Anything else you're kind of analyzing as you set your lineups?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the main thing. 150 laps. It's still 150 laps, and it's 150 laps led. It's 150 fastest laps. You know, if a guy like Kyle Busch starts in the pole and leads all 150 laps, that's going to be probably the only way that he pans out at 15,000. I think we should have that discussion before we actually get into the plays. But I did want to go back, Rod, before we get into the plays first. Lynn asking if Kutt is available in California. Kutt's available in 40 states. I believe California's one.
It is. I have.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because you signed up for it. Yeah. And you're in California. So,
yep.
Yeah. And that's one of the great things about Kutt. It's available in a lot of non-legal states. I mean, here in Nebraska, you can go place a wager at the sports book in person. We can't use, all the normal apps that everyone else can use. But Kutt's something that you can use. So it's a great way to, hey, I want action on that. But if I'm not going to make it over to the sports book, then you're able to do it there. And it's great. Rod, I did put out a few Kutt bets. So if anyone wants to take me head to head, I've got 3 different ones out there for this weekend. Some of them actually have already gotten filled. So if you want them, hit me up and I'll put another one out there. We can make another ticket and go against it. But got Zane Smith's finishing position in the Truck Series race, 6.5. We'll have a conversation about that in a little bit. But I took the worst then, Rod. So if you think Zane Smith is going to finish better than 6.5, you can take the other side. You can take my money from me. Ty Majeski. I know there's a lot of Ty Majeski love out there, a lot of Ty Majeski truthers. I am not one of them. His is set at 5.5. I also took the worst then on that. And will 8-time Bristol winner Kyle Busch finish in the top 10? If you think no, yes, then you could take the other side of me. You're going to get a better line here basically than you are at the sports books because, there's not the vig on this. So, yeah, but I'm taking the no on the Kyle Busch side. So if you want any of those 3, hit me up. If there's something else I talk about that you disagree with me about, hit me up. We'll get Kutt to add it. again, they can add any of these types of props or whatever, as long as it's got a verifiable outcome in the race. Pretty simple, and they can add them. So, yeah, definitely hit me up if you want to do that, because I'm down for the cut bets. I got a few out there, so go accept them and all of that. Fantasy. Should we get into fantasy before we do our fantasy? Do we do our fantasy lineup against the NASCAR betting preview show before we do the DFS, Rod?
Indeed, yes, Scott. I'm glad you reminded me, because we still have to. We've been kind of mopping the floor with those guys. So let's.
Well, yeah, a little bit of an understatement. Shout out to Derek and Phil over on the NASCAR betting preview show. Make sure you go check them out. I think Derek said last night they'll have Friday. They'll have their Truck Series podcast out a little later this week with the Saturday race. Go check them out. But Rod, we're only 3 races into the season. 2 have been super speedways. So, I don't want to get too big of a head yet. But we are absolutely killing them. We have 1,030 points. Whew. They have 869. So, but really, we just destroyed it last race at Las Vegas. Obviously, I was trying to see. I had who all we had played. Here it is. We had Rajah Caruth, which obviously, he went off, right? That was a great call by us. We had him in the outright. We ended up playing him in the C category. So he really did everything great. We had Kyle Busch, which I believe they had too. He did okay. But Tyler Ankrum, which was your call, was great. Grant Enfinger as well did really well. So we really just kind of crushed it last week. So let's set our lineup for Bristol Motor Speedway this weekend. I think we got to leave Kyle Busch in there, right? He can be our A1 driver, do you think? Yeah,
well, didn't we say that everyone he was going to be in, we just because it's 5 races?
I think we didn't play him at Atlanta just because we wanted to be different, which was a bad move because that's what he ended up winning that one. But we'll leave him in as our A driver. Okay, we need 2 B drivers here. So here is our options for B drivers. We've got Brett Holmes, Daniel Dye, Dean Thompson, Grant Enfinger, Lawless Allen, Lane Riggs, Matt Mills, Stuart Friesen, the Gray Brothers, Timmy Hill, Ty Dillon, and Tyler Ankrum. Any of those guys? We got to start 2 of these guys.
How much do you believe in Lane Riggs?
Enough to put him in one of these spots.
Okay, because I know you brought him up on the betting episode last week, so or last night rather. So I figured.
Yeah, and I think because for what we've seen so far, which again small sample size, but not really going to probably want to play him at 1.5 miles right now. I think short track is a good spot. I think this is a good spot.
Yeah, I think so too. And then what about Enfinger?
Enfinger, that's exactly where I was going. Okay, perfect. So Enfinger is our other guy. So we can actually put backups in here in case we want to switch after practice. Do you want to? Is there anyone specifically you're if they practice really well, should we have Ankrum on the bench?
Well, either Ankrum or Taylor.
We can have 2 guys, so we'll put those 2 guys as our bench guys, and then I have Corey Heim as our bench guy.
Yep.
For the A group, which is a good bench guy,
yeah.
And we're probably not going to take Kyle Busch out anyways.
Nope.
Okay, C drivers. We need 1 C driver to start. Let's see. I'm going to name the guys that I think we have any type of chance playing because it's a big group. Rajah Caruth, Bailey Curry, Connor Jones, William Sawalich. They've got a lot of guys. Oh, what? Those are the only guys in this group that are actually Okay.
So then my thing is this. How many times?
Well, let me just name everyone that's available because there's not. Yeah, you want to play Sawalich?
Well, no. I'm saying how many times do you think we'll play Sawalich?
Well, probably not. You get 9 starts.
Oh, 9 starts? Oh, well,
yeah,
then Rajah Caruth.
So,
we've got 9 starts.
Well, yeah.
We've already used him twice, right?
We've used him once.
Oh, once?
You get no. Oh wait, we've got 8 starts left for Rajah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've used him once. You get 9 starts.
Yeah, let's ride the hot streak with Rajah Caruth because I don't feel like if this is the time where he starts to cool down, which I don't think he will, then I'll take it on the hit. But
okay. And I'm gonna put Sawalich in as the backup just in case he completely shows up and Caruth looks bad in practice or qualifying.
Perfect.
And then we can talk behind the scenes if we want to make a decision there. Okay,
Perfect.
Boom. Lineup is locked and loaded. Hopefully we take the old boys from the NASCAR betting preview show to the wood again.
I
would
enjoy
shed.
that. Tribal Life saying if you don't take Kyle Busch in a truck race, it better be because the odds make you lose money.
Yeah, but did you take him at Las Vegas last race? Because I recall having a 70-1 ticket on Raja Caruth and not a ticket on Kyle Busch, and I think it worked out pretty well. So, but yeah, for the fantasy aspect, again, I think you have to play them, and we know that they're going. I mean, maybe they haven't recorded yet, so we have no idea, which is the great part about it. And I don't think they listen to this before they do their thing, anyways. But yeah, they could make a strategy call and play someone else, which could go either way, like we did with Kyle at Atlanta. So I like the gamesmanship of it. I think we just got to play Kyle while we have him in here, and it saves starts for the other guys later in the season as well, which is of course helpful.
That's exactly why we do it. And if we lose with them, we lose with them. If we win with them, we win with them. That's great. All right. Let's talk fantasy, actually DFS when we come back. But I want to tell you first about Champs. Champs is hosting a free March Madness bracket contest for a chance to win $1,000. Plus, if you host your own March Madness pool on Champs, you're going to get an extra free entry into that bracket contest. Tiebreakers are determined by who enters first, so make sure you register now, right now. I'll wait. Okay, you done? So you can not miss out on this. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/champs. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/champs. All right, Cody.
All right, Rod. Let's have the Kyle Busch conversation quickly since we were just talking about him.
Okay.
He's $15,000 on DraftKings. Corey Heim is the next highest priced driver, only $10,000. That is, I'm fairly certain I've never seen a pricing difference this big. That is a massive difference. Do you think, and again, we don't have all of the information, right? We don't have starting positions. We haven't seen, it's a short practice, but you might get some information out of it, obviously. So we don't have all those details now. Would you play Kyle Busch this weekend, do you think?
I would not play him in every lineup. I would make one lineup. And I know I always preach to you, don't do that. Don't make one lineup. But I'm telling you, you are hamstringing yourself. Honestly, you have to fill yourself with back markers if you put Kyle Busch in, because the quality of lineup that you put with Kyle Busch, you can get probably, unless he goes out, leads every single lap, has every single lap, which is the fastest lap, and wins this race from the pole, or you know what, from 30th place. Like, that's the only way that you're going to get a really decent enough value on Kyle Busch to make it work for you in DFS. It's going to be popular. I 1000% know that everybody's going to be trying playing somewhere. So in a GPP, especially, you have to differentiate just in case Kyle Busch comes out and do exactly what we think he's going to do. Because honestly, Cody, I don't think either one of us think Kyle Busch is going to have a day worth having out there. He may finish in the top 5. I mean, I could give him that. But
yeah, and
win.
Am I going to be shocked if he just comes out, blows the field away, leads every single lap? Like, no, we're not going to. But we've seen enough of it lately. More so in the Truck Series even than the Xfinity. Like, when he gets in Xfinity, he's won more often than he has in the Truck Series. But it's like, let's go look. I wanted to look at Vegas here. Like, he was third fastest in practice, and he was starting in 4th place in qualifying. I started to jump on the bandwagon a little bit, and I was like, he's going to take this race over. He's really gonna go off. It's going to be crazy. But, I mean, he starts in 4th. He ends up finishing 15th, obviously, after the penalty late. He only led 13 laps. At Las Vegas, Rod, do you remember the conversation we had? What was it? The last 6 races he'd been in the Truck Series, it was 4 first places and 2 second places. Like, he just dominated. He owned the place. Okay, look at Bristol. He's just dominated. He owns the place. It's such a tough conversation, because you could go back and replay this on Saturday night and be like, look, he led every single lap of this race, completely obliterated the field, whatever. But I think I'm going to probably avoid playing him. If you want to put him in there, he's going to be chalky. A lot of other people are going to have him. I like being a little different. You can take $5,000 worth of saving, and you get Corey Heim in there. And then instead of adding, so like you can have Corey Heim and Christian Eckes together, who's at 9,800, and you get those instead of having Kyle Busch and Keith McGee for a higher price, and he's the cheapest guy on the slate. So for me, I think that we've seen enough in the Truck Series lately with Kyle Busch that I think you have to avoid him. If he comes out, he's just absolutely dominant in the short practice. If he sits on the pole, maybe you change your mind. Maybe you want to put him out there. Maybe he leads 150 laps, in that case, he's going to be the play. Maybe he crashes in practice and goes to a backup truck and starts dead last. Then he's probably the play then because of the place differential. Again, not a guaranteed thing because he could have issues getting through the field and get caught up in a wreck early or whatever. But likely, I think I'm going to avoid playing Kyle Busch this weekend. And I know we don't usually spend a lot of time in the Cup Series on one specific driver that neither of us are playing, but I think this is a good conversation to have because I think that's the biggest question when it comes to DFS this week for the Truck Series is, do you play Kyle Busch at this price?
To Busch or not to Busch? That is the question. But I will say this, okay? And if you think about it this way too, like you had talked about, $15,000 is what you're paying for him. If you would have paid $14,500 for him last week, he got you 23 points. That is not a great return on your investment at all.
That's real. I mean, that sank your lineup if you played him last week. I mean, you probably didn't win money or very much unless you just absolutely killed it on everyone else. I mean, he was not the reason you were winning money in DFS, and he's going to be popular every time because he's Kyle Busch and he's dominated for years, and he's, and these Spire trucks seem to be good, but this isn't KBM of 2019, 2020, where they were just destroying everyone. It's a different truck series. I think at this point we've seen the talent levels come up a lot. So I'm going to skip him. Yeah. Rod, I am going to take for one of my higher tier play. I'm going to go down a little bit. So you got Heim there at 10,000. Of course, I like him. Eckes, Majeski, no thanks. I'm going to go down to Grant Enfinger, 9,300. I think that he's a very good price for Grant Enfinger here. A guy that we talked about yesterday on the betting episode. Look, he finished third last time here again, we're only looking at the concrete starts, not taking the dirt into account, same as with the betting side of things. Third place last time he was out here, fourth, second, sixth, fifth, a 10th sprinkled in there, and then another fourth. 5 or 7 in the top 5 in his 7 starts here. Won that race at IRP, again, the most comparable track in 2022. Was 12th last season, but was running in the top 5 in both stages in that race. He's been a solid short track racer. There's still a little bit of the questions on the equipment, right? We've only really had one true week to look at it last week, like I mentioned yesterday, but I saw enough last week. Grant did have some comments after the race where he wasn't super pleased with everything, but I think they're going to be fine. It looks like they seem to have things doing pretty decent for him last week at Las Vegas. So I think Grant Enfinger is a good play. And again, I think you can pair him up with an Eckes or a Heim or even a Majeski if that's the route you want to go, or a Smith, and you're getting him and this other guy for a better price than Kyle Busch and this guy on the slate. So that's the way that I would go, kicking it off with Grant Enfinger.
Yeah, and I love Grant Enfinger as well. I definitely backed you on him on the betting episode. Anytime you look at his numbers here, it screams he's a good betting person and he's a good person to play in DFS. So I like that. I'm going to take a $300 step down for my high price guy. I talked about him in the betting show yesterday. It's Tyler Ankrum. And honestly, Tyler Ankrum is a hell of a steal for me at $9,000. 15 was however much it is between 15 and 9,000, $6,000 less for Tyler Ankrum on this one. Well, Tyler Ankrum this season has been nothing short of stellar. 11th place, 7th place, and 2nd place. I mean, not necessarily the greatest for DFS when you talk about it in those terms, but he hasn't necessarily been bad either, right? At $8,000 for Daytona, he got you 30 points. At $8,500, he got you 44 in Atlanta, and then last couple weeks ago in Vegas on an $8,500 price tag, 48 points. So again, not necessarily the slate buster, but I do believe that Tyler Ankrum is due for a pretty good finish in this. He hasn't necessarily been all that great on this track in that 16 car, or that 16 truck rather. But like I said, I think I'm encouraged by his season so far, and he's still kind of a young-ish guy, but I'm taking a lot.
Like he's been around for 100 years, but
seriously, but he's still young. Like that's the thing about these guys, man. They when they start driving at 12, when they're hit the Xfinity Series, you feel like they're still kids, and they definitely are. But I'm encouraged, like I said, by his last week's performance at Vegas, where he did finish second after a 5th place start. So yeah, give me Tyler Ankrum, $9,000. I think he's going to be in for a good, solid effort. And if he starts a little bit deeper in the field, then those place differential points will get you. Because again, his average start here is 13.4. So I mean, like I said, if he starts anywhere in there and gets you a top 5 finish, it's pretty good place differential, pretty good finishing position for that $9,000.
Yeah, I like it. No arguments. I don't think he'll be a popular guy. People aren't used to seeing his price tag quite that high. But don't forget, he's in the McAnally Hilgeman truck now. Christian Eckes led 150 laps last time they were here, which, again, if you lead 150 laps this week, that's all of them. So a pretty solid run by him. And we've seen we've seen Ankrum again. It's been only a small sample size, but he's looked good to start the season here. So I think it's a solid play.
I agree. Speaking of solid plays, we'll take a step down to the mid-tier drivers. But first, I want to tell you about Hall of Fame Bets. Win bigger by betting smarter this NBA season with Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NBA and soccer bet with historical stats and data. Enter any parlay idea into Hall of Fame Bets revolutionary parlay optimizer tool to get hit rates broken down by leg, as well as an expected probability for the entire parlay. Sort all players by hit rate for any bet to learn which players are hot and which picks have value. Stop betting in the dark. Join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com and use code SGPN to get 50% off of your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. We love saving us some money on this show, and we do so by taking a step down for some mid-tier drivers. So, Cody, who are we loading up in that mid-tier range?
Well, save some money not playing Kyle Busch, so I am going to sneak to the top of the mid-tier, but I'm going to go with Lane Riggs, 8,200. Again, I think he's a really solid play this week. He's going to be – how many times do we see this happen, Rod? We're on the TV broadcast. They're like, whoa, Lane Riggs, look at this young kid. He hasn't done anything this season, and all of a sudden, oh, he looks so good here. What a surprise. It's so shocking. And we're all sitting at home going, it's not a surprise. It's not shocking. Because we saw it coming. It's going to be one of those weeks for Lane Riggs. So 8,200 for Riggs. You look at the number next to his name, 7.5. There are so many people building DFS lineups that will see a number like that and just say, no, thank you, move right on along. And that's fine, because I would rather them not play him. So that will work out great for us. Again, he's got no, like I talked about yesterday, no starts on Bristol yet. So there's no track data to go back and look at. But he had a third place finish in the Spire truck last season at IRP. Again, the most close track that you can compare it with. He was 4th and 9th in the 2 stages in that race. So up front throughout the entire day, up in the top 10, mixing it up, ends up with a podium finish at the end of the day. He made his Truck Series debut back in 2022 in the 62 for Friesen Halmar. Again, both of these trucks, just, not full-time trucks, part-time trucks, running mixed schedules and stuff. He jumps in them, does well. He's 7th place in his very first career Truck Series start. How many people do we see struggle in the Truck Series? Because a lot of wrecks, back of the field's tough. Didn't matter. He did great there. So he's done really well in 2 part-time rides on that track. That's enough for me. Again, this is that 38 truck too. Let's not forget about that. Going back to good trucks, I think that we're going to see him struggle at points throughout this season, and we saw him struggle. Last race at Las Vegas, we started 21st, ends up 22nd. I mean, 19 points, not really the greatest day ever for him by any means. But I think that intermediates are a different story. I think short tracks is the place to target him. We put him in the lineup for our fantasy game earlier because I think that he's going to have a really good week. And I think one of these chances where you get to call your shot. Talked about some good number on the bets. And I think that, this is a good place to get in on him while people aren't quite paying attention just yet and see him.
Yeah. And for Lane Riggs, I mean, again, this is not about raw speed for these tracks. It's more of a technical track, obviously. And guys like Lane Riggs prove that he's got a little more technical skill than it does in that truck, like you said, is much better. So I do like Lane Riggs. Tribal Life saying Darlington and Dover usually read better as a comparison track for Bristol.
They're definitely tracks. So Bristol's so tough. We talked about this on the betting episodes this week. There's just not a true compare. I mean, Bristol's kind of its own one-of-a-kind thing. For the Truck Series, we do have IRP, which I think is the closest comparison. Obviously, the Cup Series doesn't race there, so no data for them there. But that's the best comparison I can see in the numbers. You can definitely look at Dover. Obviously, it's twice as big, but a similar fast track. The concrete angle to things, right? And Darlington with the high tire wear and everything. Darlington is 1.5 miles, though, shaped differently. I think that's a little bit of a farther stretch. Dover definitely probably the most comped track when it comes to the Cup Series, as far as that goes, I think for sure. But it really, I think it was Jim Saunas was on with the NASCAR betting preview show guys yesterday, and he said, he listed like 6 different tracks. He's like, you throw them all into a blender and like kind of pull out whatever the best part of all of it is, because there's not really just a true comparison where you can say, look, this track's a lot like that track. Bristol, kind of its own beast. So I do think that, past Bristol is the best thing you can look at. But for the Truck Series, I do think IRP, being, again, a similar-ish style, close enough, as close as you're going to get for the Truck Series side of things, is a good place to look.
Yeah, but again, for me, it's just Bristol to Bristol. Bristol to Bristol. It's eggs to eggs. It's apples to apples. It's whatever analogy you want to make out of it. That's what I'm taking. So, all right, speaking of Bristol to Bristol, I'm going to take young Taylor Gray at $7,900. Like you, Cody, because I know that I saved a little money on the high price driver. I took a stab at the upper end of the mid-tier drivers. Taylor Gray, $7,900. That's 17 Tricon truck. I'm going to read you his last 2 totals for DFS, right? On a $7,700 price tag at Atlanta, he got you 69 points. I was waiting for
nice.
And then on a $7,700 price tag in Las Vegas, he got you 60 points. Great DFS days. 2 fourth-place finishes in a row for Taylor Gray after a 31st place start in Atlanta and a 19th place start in Las Vegas. He even led 4 laps in Vegas, had 8 fast laps in Vegas as well. Don't look now, but Cody's undying love for the Grays, well, for Taylor anyways, last season is coming to fruition. And I think we're going to see some fantastic stuff out of that 17 truck this season. Again, back-to-back 4th place finishes. You just cannot overlook that. And obviously, no knock on Tanner.
Those 2 brothers, geez, can we make the names any closer together? Come on, Mom, what are you doing?
She just loved it. But if you're encouraged by progress on this track, right? If you look at what he's done in his career here in 2021, he finished 29th after a 35th place start, and he even crashed out of that race too. Still managed to get a positive DFS day out of this. We're not talking betting, right? We're talking DFS. And then the next year in 2022, started 17th, finished 16th, didn't lose you points. Curious to see what his price tag was back then. But last year on Bristol, started 8th, finished 5th, a top 5 finish for Taylor Gray on this track. I think he's got the capability of doing it again. And I think if he does, especially at his price, you're going to be unlocking some GPPs in that, because again, Taylor Gray, not a name that everybody is on because everybody's sexy. If you look at the guys that are around Taylor Gray in this price range, right? And really, if to go one further, I wanted to bring this up. You're looking at a guy who's top 5 in fantasy points per race so far this season in 3 races. Or in 2 races rather. So I'm telling you right now, it's a very tempting thing to do. But if you look around him, he's got Sanchez, he's got all these guys in these price range. I'd rather have Taylor Gray than a lot of these guys, and then Crafton even, maybe even than Purdy or Friesen for DFS. So love it.
Yeah, I really don't have much of an argument. You know how much I love Taylor Gray. I've been singing his praises for a couple of years. We're starting to see it come more and more into fruition. Again, he's just about to turn 19, so he's a very young kid. He's been impressive. Let's not forget the type of truck he's in, right? It's the same truck as Corey Haim over there in the Tyler, or in the Tricon. That's the word I was trying to get, in the Tricon truck. So I think that he's a great play. Joe's epilogue of his own fable, agreeing with you. He was agreeing with you on Twitter earlier yesterday. At some point, loves the Taylor Gray. He bet the over on when we would start tonight. Probably a good bet based on how this week's been going. We actually kicked it off early tonight later than normal, but early for what we had scheduled. You did miss a few things. Make sure you go back and listen to the beginning. But
I will say on the scheduling standpoint, though, for those of you who watch on YouTube, and we appreciate it 1,000%. We want you to continue to do so. But unfortunately, our schedules do not allow for us to say we will be live at this time every single day. And sometimes even when we are live, or even when we are able to go live at that one point. Sometimes we figure the earlier we can get going, the better it is for our schedules, because as full-time dads, as full-time other things that we do, we love this show, but in the beginning we were working it into our schedule wherever we could get it fit. We're trying to get better at making it a specific time.
Be thankful we weren't going live the first year or two of this show, because we had some really weird recording schedules then. Yeah, we kind of fit it into the same-ish time frame, but yeah, like you said, we both have wives, we both have children, we both have a lot of other jobs and shit going on. So, oh well. But to your point on spending up a little bit in this group, Rod, we've got 4 solid drivers so far we've been able to plug in here. Still have $15,600 left.
That's enough for Kyle Busch.
$7,800. That's enough for Kyle Busch, but you wouldn't be able to get another driver in there. But yeah, I mean, it's $7,800 per driver left in this, so you can still end up with. First of all, you could throw a Heimer and Eckes in here and grab a cheaper guy, or you could split it right down the middle or whatever the case is. So plenty of wiggle room if you save the money without playing Kyle Busch, which I think is the way that we're both leading. I am going to go down near the bottom here. I wanted to kind of go to the bottom, work my way back up, and see where I felt I could feel comfortable enough, kind of punting on this race. So you got Keith McGee all the way at the bottom at 5,000 here. And then first of all, you stole the guy that I wanted. So I want that on the record, because that's the guy I was going to talk about. But then it's Trey Hutchins, Justin Carroll, Spencer Boyd. So kind of going up here a little bit. 5,000 for Keith McGee is the cheapest. Brett Holmes at 5,800 though is a guy that jumps out to me. Not overly impressive all the time. He's driving in his own team's truck and stuff like that, but I feel like got enough of it figured out that they seem to be fairly solid. You go back to last week or last race at Las Vegas, ends up in 12th place, which for that type of truck, a $5,800 price tag, that's a hell of a day. Do I think he's going to get 12th place this week? Probably not. You go back and you look at what he did last season. He's 27th here in the concrete race. But again, for 36 trucks, for a guy that's not going to be out of the race 3 laps into it, and with the little red truck sitting next to their name or whatever on your live screen there. So 27th is still fine. He was 25th at IRP. Again, not expecting a ton from him. They've had a great start to the season. I mean, if you want to throw the super speedways in there, which is bettors on those races, we expected him to be pretty good on. But so they're actually sitting decent to start the season. But so I wouldn't weigh those into it, obviously. But 5,800, I feel like Brett Holmes is a guy that's safe. So if you want to go cheap, I mean, say you play these other 4 guys we're at, you put a guy like him in, you had 9,800. So the only 2 guys off the board then are Corey Hyman, Kyle Busch. You got everyone else, and Eckes, a Majeski, a Smith, Kruth. All of these guys are still available to you. So if you do want to play Kyle Busch, if it ends up being, he's impressive, you're just sold that he's going to lead this whole race, which he can do. Again, we didn't say he's not going to. We're just fading that is what's going to happen. I think this is a good play, very cheap down on the board. That'd be a good guy to look at to help you squeeze some other people into your lineup.
I agree, and I agree with you about the next driver, because apparently I stole him from you, which is fantastic.
You thief. Oh.
I know.
Rod beat me. I make sure to get in on the betting episodes first for sure. He did beat me to the DFS one this week, though.
I'm telling you, this is the cut bet that we need every single week. Who gets to the dock first? I'm going to take William Sawalich, that number 1 truck. $6,900 for William Sawalich, who has 0 points this season because he has not partaken in a truck race in the 2024 season. But I'm telling you right now, for William Sawalich, this is a guy to look out for. His average start last year in the truck series in 6 starts was 10th. So he had speed right out of the gate. His best finishes of the season, a 9th place at Martinsville. Good short track guy. Started 22nd in that race as well. Finished 9th at Martinsville. Richmond started 3rd, finished 10th. Lost points in that one, but still a nice solid 10th place finish after starting 3rd. IRP, a good one that we talked about as far as the comp track, if there ever was one. Started 10th, finished 6th. Pretty decent DFS day there as well. And then a couple of bad finishes to end the day. He did have a 30th place in Bristol last year, but he did start 9th in that one as well. So again, speed from the start for William Sawalich, not bad for his first attempt out there in the short track world. In fact, if you look, he was nowhere. He wasn't in the top 10 on either of the stages. But again, I'm very encouraged by him. He's been tearing it up in the ARCA Menard Series. In fact, this year, his one race started on the pole and won the race. Led 66 laps in that one of the 115 that he was in. Look back at last year, what he did in the ARCA Menard Series. He had 4 wins in 13 starts in the ARCA Menard Series there. I mean, winning in places like Phoenix, or not like Phoenix. He started on the pole in Phoenix, but won Milwaukee, won at Bristol here last year in the ARCA Menard Series. So kid's fast. He definitely has the ability to turn good laps. And so for him at $6,900, somebody that probably nobody's going to be on because he's so far down with no points.
Did I miss you saying $6,900 the first time? Damn it.
You did. Yeah, nice. You did.
I'm sleeping over here today, Rod. Jeez, that is a very nice price.
I know my voice drones on, but you gotta pick it up every once in a while.
I love Sawalich this week. I mentioned on the betting show yesterday we didn't have any bets that we found on him, but that we would probably be talking about him today. I think he's a great play. $6,900, a very nice price. And Rod, do you know why he hasn't raced so far this season?
It's because he wasn't old enough, right?
Not old enough. He's only 17 years old. It's Rod's birthday tomorrow, everyone. So make sure you wish him a happy birthday tomorrow. If you want to feel old, Rod, he was born in 2006. And if you're not watching on YouTube, Rod just took his headphones off and threw them down and walked away. So
2006. I definitely feel old now.
Yeah, so that's why we've not seen him, because he's not old enough to race on any of the tracks we've been to. But 6 starts in the Truck Series. He's got 3 top 10 finishes. That's overly impressive for a 16, 17-year-old kid. A couple other young kids that we've seen tear it up in this number 1 truck. Corey Heim, I don't know what happened to him, but he's been pretty decent, right? The overwhelming favorite to win the championship this season in the Truck Series. Jesse Love. Look what he's done so far in Xfinity. It's been fairly impressive, right? So this is a guy that we're going to be talking about for years to come. You definitely want to learn his name because, William Sawalich, a guy that's going to be around, has a very bright future for a very young kid.
Yep. Learn how to say Sawalich. That's how you say it.
Yeah, I've heard some people sort of butcher that name, but
like SVG, that's a name that a lot of people love to butcher as well. So, all right. That is the DFS portion of it. I'll go over those drivers real quick for you. Cody started you off with Grant Enfinger at $9,300. I gave you Tyler Ankrum at $9,000. Cody gave you Lane Riggs as his mid-tier driver at $82,000. I gave you Taylor Gray at $7,900 is mine. And then Cody gave you Holmes at $5,800 is his low-price driver. And I gave you Sawalich at $6,900 for my low-price driver. We all said, we know that Kyle Busch is $15,000, and we know that he can win this race. But we also know that if he doesn't, and you just put all your chips in on Kyle Busch, then that's on you. We warned you.
It's expensive. It's expensive. And again, he can lead all 150 laps. He could lap every single one in this field, and it would not be shocking. We're not going to come back on next week and be like, can you believe what Kyle Busch did? It's going to be like, well, look what Kyle Busch did, right? It's, we've seen Max Verstappen do it, but I think for the price, we're both on the train of you're probably leaning towards don't play him. Again, if he's 5 seconds faster than everybody in practice on Saturday, maybe you'll rethink that strategy.
Indeed. All right. Let's get over to some
That'd be pretty
underdog
impressive
points.
if you're 5 seconds faster on Bristol.
Yeah, that would be very impressive. You would have to 1,000%. That'd be Max Verstappen range right there. So, all right, we got some underdog plays to get to. So let's get some underdog plays and play along with us. Use that promo code RACE SGPN.
Yes. Race SGPN. Seriously, underdog. Again, another, this is a fantasy game. It's a way to get in on the action, have some skin in the game. Legal in a lot more states than gambling is legal. It's a fun fantasy game to play. Love it. And you can go cross sports. Joe's Epilog is asking about golf here. This is not the show for that. Check out the Golf Gambling Podcast, by the way.
If you're in golf.
I'm sort of interested, but I couldn't tell you much about it. So I have no golf plays for you. Sorry. I do write some other sports for the website, but golf not one of them. So but check out the Golf Gambling Podcast. It's a great show. They know what they're talking about. They'll help you out a lot for sure. But you can play golf on Underdog. You can play, again, a billion sports on there. They've got NFL, they've got MLB, NBA, all sorts of stuff. And you can have racing picks. You can have, I did one a couple weeks ago where it was, a Caitlin Clark play was in there, a combine 40 time, a couple of racing finishes. Like, you can go all across the sports. It's super fun. So I'm going to start off, and they're giving you great lines like this, Rod. Ty Majeski, 6.0 finishing position, better or worse? Of course, if you listen to anything I've said this week, worse than for me on Ty Majeski, finishing 6th place. Again, he's been good here. I'm not going to hide that fact, right? He won this race in 2022. He dominated IRP last year, but it's been different since the tire issue, since they got busted there. 10th place at Vegas last week, not overly impressive. After the tire issue last year was found out at Milwaukee, he finishes 7th there after a dominating performance at IRP the week before, another shorter track, and doesn't really show up in any way, shape, or form. 18th at Kansas. Then he came to Bristol here, 19th place. Not impressive at all. 9th at Homestead, 14th at Phoenix, and then again 10th place in Vegas. I'm looking at my notes from yesterday. They still say Jag on it. Just another guy at this point. So I am all aboard the fade Ty Majeski train. Again, if you disagree with me, that bet is over there on Kutt. You can take it. Come take my money from me. Well, you won't because you'll lose, but you can try to take my money from me just in case I'm wrong.
Well, hang tight because I'm taking that bet. So you guys all, because you already look. Go back and listen to the betting episode. I thoroughly disagree. And Cody, what did he do to hurt you? I mean, I know the whole tire thing. You have brought that up so many times.
And he's one of the guys that hasn't even hurt me. I don't think. He's one of the. I have a problem when guys get too much praise for not doing stuff. Everybody's always all over Ty Majeski. It's a lot of SVG thing. Like, I love SVG. I think it's so impressive, but the guy won at Chicago. Oh, he's the greatest driver ever. Like, is he though? It's great. It's awesome. It's a cool story. I love watching the story unfold, but let's pump the brakes. He's not Jesus because he won one, right? Like, Majeski, he was in that 60 Roush car for a while. Did he do much in it? No. Then he kind of went away, and now he's come back, and it's like, oh, he's this great driver, but show me many examples of where he's this great driver. Like, a couple of races here and there, and apparently he was bleeding the tires to look that good. I don't know. And I don't know why the cheating thing is sticking with me either, because I'm fully for cheating and racing, but I don't know. I don't have a great explanation for you, Rod.
Joe wants to know, is it fade Cody week, Rod? Well, I mean, look, I never tell you to actively fade Cody, but on this one, yes.
We've got a couple disagreements too, because we actually, like I said, Rod beat me to the sheet. We'll get to it in a minute, but he put one play in here, and I took the opposite side of the play. So, and this isn't even the one, so we're getting there.
Indeed. All right. Well, then so I talked about Taylor Gray earlier in the episode. Well, I'm going to turn my attention to his older brother, by the way, Tanner Gray, where I thought that Taylor Gray would be a fantastic betting person this week and DFS person. I think that Tanner is going to have a not good day. Therefore, his finishing position is set at 15.5. I'm going to take worse than 15.5 for Tanner Gray. I want to read to you the finishes for Tanner Gray at Bristol Motor Speedway. Okay. The first race of his career in 2020, he started 16th, finished 3rd. That's great. Rod, why are you taking it? All right, well, hang tight. I'm about to read you the rest of them. In 2021, he started 21st, crashed out, and finished 38th. In 2022, he started 26th. He finished 17th. In 2023, Rod, he started in 6th place. Yeah, but he finished in 29th. So 3 of his 4 career starts here on this track have been worse than 16.5, and you're getting this finishing position at 15.5. So I'm definitely going to lean that direction. You want to talk about IRP? Because we talked about IRP being close and a comp track, as it were. 2 starts on that racetrack, a 23rd place finish in 2022 and a 15th place finish in 2023. Don't think he can get that done. I just, like I said, honestly don't believe that Tanner Gray has what it takes to get a 15th place finish on this track in particular. And this season so far, finishes of 16th at Daytona, 19th in Atlanta, 20th at Las Vegas. Nowhere in there is a finish of 15th or better. So Where I think Taylor's going to get the good day going for him, his brother, not so much. So give me worse than 15.5 for Tanner Gray.
Will checking in says, when will either Gray brother do something so great we'll figure out which one is which? Tanner, Taylor, no difference to him. Rod made a good argument for Taylor a little bit ago. I've been big on the Taylor train. I think of the brothers, he's definitely the much more talented one. A little bit, slower to bloom here, but I think it's already beginning to show that he's the better one. I think that's going to continue to kind of amplify as we go. So it's a big number, 15.5 for a Tricon truck, but you make a solid case. So don't really have much of an argument. Back to the Majeski thing quick. Will also checking in saying Majeski was set to be a career bust until his good second half last season, which is when he was bleeding the tires, by the way. So, and then, yeah, I agree with you, Joe, on SVG. Again, there was a lot of extenuating circumstances. We're not going to make this podcast about SVG.
No, we will not. All right, Cody, who is next for you?
Next up for me, Rod, Corey Heim, 5.5. I've actually called the police, reported Underdog to them. I don't know if there's drug use going on there. This feels like a criminal line. 5.5 for Corey Heim. I don't know. I don't really, I'm not even going to comment on this because, like, how is it so low? Or how is it so high? At 5.5, he should be like 3.5, I think, Rod. I don't know. Corey Heim is the best regular truck driver out there. Of the weekly guys, he's, like I said before, he's like plus 250 to win the championship. In 3 races last season, Rod, where he finished worse than 8th, he is good each and every single week. He's always up there. Oh, last time we were at Bristol, he won the race. So, I mean, really, that's all you need to know. Corey Heim better than 5.5. This is easily the best play out here, in my opinion. I really can't believe that it's set so low at 5. I mean, so whatever. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Low, high. It's the number's not correct. Just take the better than is what I'm trying to tell you.
Underdog, you got Cody done worked up on this one. I love it.
But hey, I appreciate it. And hey, they like to give out free squares all the time. It's like, will LeBron James score half a point or something? And yeah, this is one of those. Will Corey Heim finish better than 5.5? Like, hell yeah, throw this one in and build the rest of your card around it.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, that's exactly what you need to do for that as well. Okay, I will take Chase Purdy. Normally I'm the guy that's the optimistic guy, right? I'm the guy that's always love to take better thans and give you the better thans.
Well, I think we're learning pretty quickly too that you've got to sprinkle a fair share of worse thans in here.
Yeah, you have to, because you got to balance it out at some point. And you got to look for the right finishing positions to sort of exploit in that instance as well. So I'm going to take Chase Purdy. I'm going to take his worse than 14.5 for Chase Purdy. I know the name is sexy. I know that it's great. I know that he finished 8th place last year in that 4 truck, but this is not the same equipment that he was in. This is not the same Kyle Busch equipment. I mean, it may be in theory, right? I don't even know anymore. Like, whatever, it's gone. Chase Purdy's not a Kyle Busch driver anymore. So those days are over for him. But his other 2 finishes on this track, a 30th place finish rather in 2021 and a 30th place finish in 2022. Now, granted, he was driving the 61 Hattori truck in one instance and the Gallagher 23 truck in the other. So again, not all that great. But even this season, right, when we talk about the Spire trucks are great, and Raja Caruth proved that he had a good Spire truck, but Raja Caruth's got Hendrick's backing now, and Chase Purdy does not. I don't know how much that weighs into it. I don't know how much that factors into it, but Chase Purdy's finishes this year, 28th, 15th, 16th, none of those have been better than 14.5. I just don't think he's got it in him this week again either. I think this is going to be one where he'll finish 15 to 20th, and that's where you're going to get Chase Purdy in this, because again, he did good 1 year in really good top line equipment. He's not in that again, so we'll see.
Stephen Williams, our buddy checking in. He's a Chiefs fan. Rod, he says, I seem to remember another Purdy getting buried last month.
I'm looking for the block button. I don't know where it's at.
Shots fired. Rod, of course, a 49er fan. Still trying to get over the Super Bowl loss, which was very unfortunate. But, yeah, I agree with you on this very much completely. I was having this argument with our guy, Jinx Eugene, in Discord earlier. That Chase Purdy, like, he was trying to make a case for Chase Purdy, and I love you, buddy, but I don't really know what the case you can make for Purdy is. Like, he's one of those guys that's been around for a long time, hasn't done shit. He's in a good truck, and like, what's he doing in it? Like, not much really. So, I'm fully back on this at worse than 14.5. Actually, had you not beat me to the document, this would have been one that I definitely would have considered playing. But instead, Rod, I decided to go against you on your next play. So we're both taking Zane Smith for our final play here. Who did Purdy drive for last year? Purdy was driving for Kyle Busch Motorsports last season, which is supposed to be the best trucks out there. Sucked. So, I mean, he had a couple of good finishes. Yes, you can highlight those, but overall sense of what those trucks should do, not good. Anyways, we're both taking Zane Smith on this final one. Rod, you're taking the better than 6.0. I'm taking worse than 6.0 because I saw Zane Smith race in the truck race in Las Vegas a couple of weeks ago, and it was about as impressive as everything else he's done lately. Look, Zane Smith, one of the best Truck Series drivers we've seen in years. You know, first or second in the standings at the final end of the year, 3 or 4 years in a row, always in the battle, always dominating. But we started to see it back in 2023 last season. You know, he won races early, and then he just kind of fell off. And it was a running joke on here. I would say, oh, there goes Zane Smith to the back again, or Zane Smith having this problem, or Zane Smith having that problem. And Zane Smith, like, getting a little bit of Justin Allgaier and Ty Majeski syndrome in here with Zane Smith. And that seems to have picked up a little bit coming into this season. I mean, he was one of the guys that was involved in like the lap 6 wreck at the Daytona 500 in the Cup Series. I believe he wrecked at Atlanta. Didn't have a good day at Las Vegas. Vegas is where he ends up hitting the wall early, right? And then, things go bad for him. I don't think he had a great day in Phoenix. Like, it's not been good at all for Zane Smith. This is a McAnally Hilgeman truck, and I was very high on him at Las Vegas. I thought, wow, you're putting this great Truck Series driver in this super fast truck. Didn't really see that. I mean, he finished 8th place somehow, and I don't remember seeing him on TV once during the race, Rod. Nothing impressive about what he did. Finished 8th place. You go back to Bristol last season, 24th place in the fall in this race. Sure, did he run better than that at some point? I'm sure he did, but guess what? Something happened, and he's one of those guys that seems like something keeps happening. He did finish 2nd here in 2022. I'm sure you'll bring that point up here in a minute. Great for him, but 2021, 8th place. So 2 of the last 3 here, he's not done it. I don't like fading Zane Smith, but I think it's the way to go, and I think that worse than 6th place, you think about it. You got Kyle Busch up there, you got Corey Heim up there, Christian Eckes, Grant Enfinger. Starting to run out of spots where he's going to be better than these guys, and I don't think that he will be. So, I'm going to go with worse than for Zane Smith at 6.0.
Cody, 2 weeks ago at Las Vegas, Zane Smith may not have been a person on TV, but he was a person inside of the top 10, which I'm telling you right now was not better than 6th place. It still was 8th place. However, this is the first time in that 91 truck for him. That was the first running of it. You have to think that a champion like Zane Smith.
This wasn't the first running of the 91 truck. Jack Wood was in it the first 2 weeks.
Well, okay, of Zane Smith's existence in this 91 truck. But you have to think that is not what they're after. And Zane Smith is a good enough driver. Yeah, he disappeared over some course of the half of the season last year, but he was still really damn good overall in that truck. He was always somebody that was contending for the win. He was contending for the championship. So listen, for me, I'm going to give the credit to the driver, and I'm going to say that he's going to outdrive his equipment at this point and get into the top 6 at a place where, like you said, yeah, he finished bad in the race that he was in 2023. But in that last race there in 2023, he was actually inside the top 10. He was actually inside the top 2 at the end of stage 2. And he was in the top 5 at the end of stage 1. So he was running up front. Yeah, something happened. Okay, we know this. But sometimes stuff doesn't happen. And Zane Smith is the kind of guy that can benefit from a race where something doesn't happen. You want to talk about comp track and IRP? 3rd place finish in 2022. 5th place finish in 2023. The guy's talented enough to get himself a top 5 finish in a race. He's done it several times over the course of his Truck Series career. And then last season, he had 10 top 5s in 23 starts. It doesn't all just go away. I know the 91 truck is not the 38 truck, but he can still drive. So I honestly believe that he can get a top 5 finish, which means I think he's going to have better than 6th place on this track on this Saturday.
Let us know. We would like to know whose side of this you're on. If you're on the Rod side, if you're on the Cody side of Zane Smith, better or worse, comment on the YouTube channel if you're watching over there. Hit us up in the Discord, whatever. I would like to see what everyone else's opinions are on this one.
I would too. And matter of fact, maybe that'll be my cut bet right there. So I'll put that up and you guys can jam on that. When I get it up there, I'll put it in the Discord and you guys can take my money from me.
I like it.
Beautiful.
Actually,
that's
that's one of them that I put up already was Zane Smith. So it's over there. So you could just jump on and take it, Rod.
I'll definitely take it then. All right. Beautiful.
Yeah, they've got him at 6.5. So you're even getting 6th place with count.
I'm getting the hook. I love it.
You're getting the hook and everything. I was a little extra generous on that one.
Yeah, you were.
That's how much I believe in it. See.
Oh, so I'll still take it at 6. In fact, I'll take it even more at 6.5. That means I have an extra position to play with. So, all right. Let me go over these underdog picks for you for this race. Cody started you out with Ty Majeski, worse than 6th place. I said Tanner Gray would be worse than 15.5. Cody said that Corey Heim would be better than 5.5. I said Purdy would be worse than 14.5. Cody gave you Zane worse than 6th, and I gave you Zane better than 6 on the other half of that. So, get in there. Use that code Race SGPN. Sign up. We really want to reward you for helping us win this contest, which we're about to win because you guys are crushing it. So continue to sign up. Sign all your friends up. Make sure that they sign all their friends up, and have a mass underdog signing up party, and tweet us and tell us all about it in the Discord and have some fun with it. But yeah, we definitely want to win that contest, and we want you guys to benefit from it.
Sign your wives up, sign your girlfriends up, sign your boyfriends up, whatever. I don't care. Sign them all up.
Sign your wives, boyfriends up. I don't care. Whatever you got to do.
Exactly. Make him worth something.
I'm telling you. Yeah. If he's good, yeah, make him worth something. All right.
On that note, Rod,
you would think that it's like late night. NASCAR
who would have thought that a truck fantasy podcast and we'd be an hour and 8 minutes into it, basically. So here we are. We told you we talk about these things all day if we want to. This was really fun. Let us know what you thought of it if you want to continue to get more of it. Obviously, first time we've had the truck series alone in the fantasy world, and I think it was a fun time. I think we had some good conversations and made some good picks. Rod had a couple bad ones, but that's all right. We'll forgive him for those. And good luck this weekend. Well, we will find out Saturday, and that's the great part about it.
I love it. All right. Well, then we'll wrap up this episode. We'll come back tomorrow. We'll have the Cup Series DFS and Underdog picks proper as we do. But in the meantime, Cody, let everybody know where they can find you on social media and, of course, where they can find those cut bets.
Yes. Follow me over on the X at Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my work over there. I tweeted out the links to accept the cut bets. If they've been taken by someone else, hit me up. I'll make a new link and send it over to you. I post them in the Discord as well. So you can get them there, or you can just download the Kutt app, use the promo code SGPN, get that 10% deposit bonus, and you can go. They'll show up right there in the public bets available. I don't know what my name on there is, but it's some sort of combination of Husker Zeeb probably.
Well, yeah, you can definitely find that in the Discord if you're really, really that interested.
It is. It's Husker_Zeeb, same as my my Twitter. So there you go. And we'll be back tomorrow. We do the same thing again tomorrow. Underdog DFS for the Cup Series. So join us again for that.
Indeed. Find me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bot, everything I got going on, whether it's here, whether it's Sportsbook Review. Got a Cup article coming out tomorrow. And then, of course, make sure you check out the Back Roads. About to kick off here soon on IBT's media channel. So In Between Media, search them up. They're going to kick it off here for Bristol. Seth and Elliot got you covered on that one as well. So head over to that. And of course, make sure to check out Derek and Phil's Truck Series show. That'll happen tomorrow as well. So much going on in the NASCAR community. I love it. So, all right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Till then, have some fun, and let's go racing and let it ride.